What if the very force you've been told you can master, the one you've tried to tame with discipline, rules, or even love, was never truly yours to control? What if the truth is darker, more unsettling? Carl Jung believed it was. He warned us that the deepest desires within us are not tools we command, but forces that command us. Think of the times you've tried to silence thoughts you didn't want. The late-night restlessness, the magnetic pull toward someone you told yourself to ignore, the racing pulse, the way your body betrayed your calm intentions. Were you really in control? Or was something older hidden deep inside you already making the choice for you? Jung said what we call weakness is not weakness at all. It is power, just not our power. It is the power of the unconscious, a force older than civilization itself. And when it rises, it doesn't ask for your permission. It sweeps through you like a storm. This is why people mistake desire for love. They think they are guided by reason, by choice, by destiny. But beneath the surface, something more primitive is pulling the strings. The unconscious does not care about your rules, your values, or even your peace of mind. It only wants, and when it wants, it moves you like a pawn across a chessboard. Imagine two people meeting for the first time. They speak politely, exchange words, behave with civility. But their eyes linger a little too long, their voices shift, their bodies lean closer without permission. Long before their minds rationalize what is happening, their unconscious has already made its choice. What they later call attraction was never a decision, it was desire moving silently beneath the surface. The danger, Jung warned, is not that desire exists. The danger is that we are blind to it. We believe we are choosing when in reality we are obeying. We believe we are strong when we are enslaved. Society tells us to control, to dominate, to repress. But Jung's truth is harsher. The unconscious will always be stronger than your conscious will. This is why careers collapse, why families break apart, why people risk everything they swore they valued. It is not reason that drives them. It is hidden desire. And when it rises, morality becomes little more than a whisper lost in the storm. But the cruelest part is this desire doesn't just control who you're drawn to. It controls how you see yourself. That sudden surge of confidence, the reckless boldness, the obsession that feels like purpose, none of these are proof of your strength. They are proof of how easily desire can inflate your ego, disguising hunger as love, obsession as destiny. Jung believed this illusion is what destroys us. We meet someone and tell ourselves it's fate, when in reality it's projection. We're pulled toward them not because they complete us, but because they mirror the parts of ourselves we have lost, denied, or buried. And so we call it love. We call it destiny. But Jung cuts through the illusion. It isn't fate. It isn't destiny. It's the unconscious, demanding to be seen. And if history has shown us anything from kings who lost empires to leaders who sacrificed everything for passion, it's this. No one escapes the pull. Not the powerful, not the disciplined, not even you. So ask yourself, are you truly the one choosing? Or is something inside you ancient, hidden, and relentless already pulling the strings? But here is the paradox Jung wanted us to confront. The moment you realize you are not in control, something changes. At first, this truth feels like defeat, like a wound to your pride. But slowly, you discover that honesty about your own hidden desires gives you a kind of strength that denial never could. Because when you stop pretending, you also stop being deceived. You stop mistaking hunger for destiny. You stop dressing obsession in the clothes of love. Stop blaming yourself for being human. Jung called this process shadow work, the courage to face the parts of yourself you would rather bury. Not to destroy them, not to repress them, but to understand them. Imagine standing in front of a mirror that shows not just your face, but every part of you you've tried to hide. That is what shadow work feels like. It's uncomfortable. It's raw. It forces you to admit that you are not as pure, rational, or controlled as you wanted to believe. But this is where real transformation begins. Think of it like this. A man who denies his desires will eventually be consumed by them in secret. But a man who admits them can begin to channel that energy, to understand where it comes from, to see the illusions it creates. He may not control the storm, but he can stop being blind to it. And that awareness alone can change everything. Because the truth is, desire was never meant to be eliminated. It has been with us since the beginning of life itself. It is the reason humanity survived, the reason civilizations were built, the reason stories of love and passion fill our history. To erase it would be to erase something essential in us. The danger was never in desire itself. The danger was in our refusal to acknowledge it. Jung believed that most of us live as prisoners of our own projections. We fall in love not with other people, but with the pieces of ourselves we cannot face. We call someone a soulmate, when really they are just carrying the fragments of our shadow. And when that projection fades, when the mask slips, we feel betrayed. But the betrayal was never theirs, because we expected them to complete us when in truth, only we could reclaim what was missing. So maybe the point is not to master desire, but to see through it, to recognize its disguises, to understand when it is driving us, so we can choose with clearer eyes. This doesn't mean the storm will vanish. It means we stop being fooled by it. We stop letting it trick us into believing it is love, or fate, or destiny. Jung's warning is clear. You will never control your hidden desires. But if you face them, if you stop running from them, you gain something even more valuable. Not control over the unconscious, but truth about yourself. And in a world where most people live blind to their own motives, that truth is rare power. What happens when you finally admit that you are not the master of your own mind? Most people resist this question. They cling to the illusion of control because it gives them comfort. Say, I can resist temptation. I can discipline myself. I am free. But Jung reminds us, freedom without awareness is only another form of slavery. Think of history. Kings who sacrificed kingdoms for love affairs. Philosophers who preached virtue but collapsed under their private obsessions. Leaders who built nations but lost themselves in passion. Were they truly free, or were they carried away by desires so ancient, so primal that all their power meant nothing? The truth is that desire does not disappear with intelligence, wealth, or morality. It only hides. And the more we deny it, the stronger it grows. Most societies tell us to suppress desire. Religion, tradition, family all demand restraint. And yes, discipline matters. But suppression without understanding only pushes the unconscious deeper into shadow. Imagine locking a wild animal in a cage. It may stay quiet for a time, but sooner or later it will grow restless. It will claw at the bars. When it breaks free, it will not come out gently. It will come out with rage. The same is true of hidden desire. A person who spends years pretending their impulses don't exist eventually finds themselves consumed by them. This is why so many perfect lives collapse in scandal, betrayal, or sudden crisis. It's not weakness. It's not accident. It's the shadow, returning with interest. Jung believed that when we are drawn to another person, it is often not about them at all. It is about us. We project our missing parts, our hidden strengths, our secret wounds, our unacknowledged dreams, onto others. A person becomes a mirror, reflecting back what we cannot face in ourselves. This is why love feels so magnetic, so consuming. We believe we have found someone extraordinary. In reality, we have found a piece of ourselves. Yes. But projection is dangerous, because no human being can carry the weight of someone else's unconscious. Inevitably, the illusion breaks. The soulmate becomes ordinary. The passion turns into resentment, and what was once a fairy tale becomes a battlefield of blame. Jung's advice was not to stop loving, but to love with open eyes. To see the projection for what it is. To ask, am I drawn to this person because of who they are, or because of what I have lost within myself? Modern culture loves the idea of control. We celebrate self-mastery, mind over matter, discipline above desire. But Jung laughed at this illusion. He said the unconscious is older, stronger, and more ruthless than the conscious mind. To believe you can simply dominate, it is arrogance. Think of a man standing before the ocean, demanding that the tide obey him. His voice may be loud, his will unshakable. But the waves will still rise, crash, and drown him. If he refuses to respect their power, the unconscious is that ocean. And your will is only a fragile voice against it. But Jung also offered hope. Said you cannot control the unconscious, but you can learn its language. You can study its symbols, its dreams, its instincts. You can make peace with it instead of pretending it isn't there. One of the ways Jung explored the unconscious was through dreams. He said, dreams are the voice of hidden desires, speaking in symbols. Have you ever dreamed of running towards something you cannot see, of being chased, of falling? These are not random images. They are the language of your unconscious. They reveal what you want, what you fear, and what you refuse to admit in daylight. Most people wake up and dismiss their dreams, they say. It was just nonsense. Yet Jung believed this was like throwing away letters from your own soul, because each dream is a message. If you ignore it long enough, the unconscious will not whisper anymore. It will shout through crisis, obsession, or breakdown. Desire itself has two faces. Without desire, humanity would have never built civilizations, written poetry, painted art, or discovered new worlds. Desire drives us to reach higher, to search for beauty, to seek connection. But desire also destroys families, empires, even sanity. So how can one force be both divine and dangerous? Because the unconscious is not moral. It does not care about good or evil, only expression. It will push you toward what it wants, regardless of consequences. It is up to your conscious self to bring awareness, to ask, if I follow this path, what will it cost me? Without awareness, desire enslaves you. With awareness, it can become your fuel. But most people would rather live blind than confront their own unconscious. Why? Because facing desire means facing the parts of ourselves we judge the most. The envy we feel but deny, the anger we bury, the hunger we label as shame, the fantasies we dismiss as weakness. To admit them feels dangerous, like betraying the image we show the world. So we build masks. We hide behind politeness, morality, respectability. But inside, the unconscious keeps waiting, growing, demanding to be seen. Jung called this the shadow. He said, until you face your shadow, you will always be its prisoner. Look around the world, and you will see what happens when hidden desire runs unchecked. Wars fueled by greed. Betrayals disguised as passion. Addictions that destroy lives. Leaders who appear noble but are secretly ruled by their shadows. This is not coincidence. It is the unconscious ruling the world through people who refuse to know themselves. And here's the tragedy. The more people deny their own darkness, the more they project it onto others, as they say. It is not me who is corrupt. It is them. And in that projection, they create enemies, start wars, and destroy peace. Jung's wisdom was radical. The world will never heal until individuals face their own hidden desires. Because every unacknowledged shadow spills outward, shaping not just one life, but the fate of societies. So where does that leave us? If we cannot control desire, are we doomed to be its slaves forever? Not exactly. Jung said the goal is not control, but integration. To bring the unconscious into dialogue with the conscious, to admit this is part of me, even if I do not like it. The person who does this gains something rare: authenticity. Stop pretending. They stop projecting. See themselves clearly, and therefore they see others clearly too. This clarity does not erase desire, but it makes desire less dangerous. Because when you know what pulls you, you are no longer blindly dragged by it. Think of it like sailing. You cannot control the wind, but if you understand it, you can adjust your sails. You can move with its force instead of being wrecked by it. So the final question remains: are you willing to see your own hidden desires, or will you continue pretending they do not exist? Jung believed that the courage to face them was the only path to freedom. Because when you finally stop lying to yourself, you stop being a prisoner of illusions. And maybe in that honesty, you will find something stronger than control. You will find understanding. And sometimes, understanding is the only kind of power we are meant to have.